Bostrom says, machine intelligence is the last innovation that humanity will ever need to make. A very good morning to all. I am Viveda and Leena. We welcome you to MBA Data Analytics Annual Industry Interface Event, Synaptic 2024. Synaptic means the connection of two neurons, and similarly, the name Synaptic was selected to show the connection between institution and industry and how these two go hand in hand. In embracing the theme of generative brilliance for this year, we celebrate the extraordinary capabilities of artificial intelligence to inspire, innovate, and create across diverse domains. This theme encapsulates the transformative power of AI to generate novel ideas, solutions, and artworks, driving progress and pushing the boundaries of human imagination.
The traditional lighting of the lamp signals dispelling darkness and bringing light and knowledge to the world. We request our guest, Vice Chancellor, and Dean to kindly light the lamp. We request the student coordinators to assist. Now, we request our vibrant department head, Professor R. Kasilingam, to deliver the welcome address.
Most respected dignitaries and my dear colleagues and my dear student friends, good morning to one and all present here. Let me welcome you all for the Synaptic, which is a signature event of our data analytics program. So first of all, let me welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, who has accepted our invitation to be part of this program. So let me welcome you, sir. Next, let me welcome our chief guest, who have accepted our invitation graciously and to be part of our department DMS and the part of Synaptic this year. Let me welcome you, sirs. Next, let me welcome our Dean, who is extending our unconditional support to us in every part of our events. So let me welcome Madam. Next, let me welcome the faculty coordinator and other colleagues for Synaptic 2024. And let me welcome our student friends for the Synaptics. It is for them, it is by them, they are conducting, it is their event. They have put the hard work and they have been running here and there to make this event unique and successful. Now, this data analytics department, we have started 5 years before with a lot of effort and a lot of expectations, and now we have admitted 5th year students. Now this department has grown to the extent of taking 110 students in the course in the every year. Now we have 2 sections in the first year. Now this department is growing leap and bounds, and we expect this department to grow further. In fact, I feel this is the department, this is the core for which we have to put lot of our investment. I feel this is the department will provide lot of dividends not only to the entire department but also to the entire university. Now, earlier we were conducting, they were part of the DA students were part of Synapse, and last year we thought they need to have a separate program. That is why we have conceived this idea. In fact, these are all 2 different departments, DMS and DA. There are 2 different courses. This course is unique. Their expectations are different. Their domains are different. Their thinkings are different. Their role is different. So they need to have a separate program they have to grow. If everybody grow in the same way, it is called sharp. But everybody, they have to grow individually, then they will become the big trees. That is the idea. We are doing this program separately. Now, when we look into the data, data is talk of the world, talk of the universe. The entire world is flooded with the data. Right, now I used to tell, right, if you want to become successful, what extent you are using the data effectively. The success of an individual, success of a manager is decided by what extent they effectively use the data available to them for taking better decision. Now, when you look into the world as such, you take the developed countries, whether it is Japan or Korea or West Germany. Our Vice Chancellor used to talk about these countries. I have looked at them, how they have grown. One common thing is they have utilized the technology effectively. That is why they have become successful. India could not do much because we have lost our phase during the manufacturing space. That phase we have not used effectively technology. That is why we have lost in the race. But when we look into the first part, let us look at the world. First we were in forest. That time we are slaves to animals. The animals, if they want, they will eat us. Then we have come to that was many years. Then we have come to the agriculture age, where men and the human beings and animals, they coexist. We are used to pull, so we have grown the agriculture for many years. Then we have come to the manufacturing phase. In the manufacturing phase, we have started developing and producing weapons. By using that weapon, we made animals as slave to us. Right. Now we are in the data analysis. Now we have to use data analysis or data as a weapon to make everybody slave, if not slave, as a friend to coexist. Otherwise not possible. So now let me tell one more example. Right. I am an individual. I might be having a knowledge. You might be having a knowledge. But you take Euclid. I suppose to consider him as a great intelligence. Alright, you take Newton or whoever it is. I am talking about Euclid because we have science professor. He has written a book, Elements, with 13 volumes. People used to say, he is a great intelligent, he can work, he can solve the problems 20 times better than what computer can do. Even that person, when you use his own language, his own knowledge, he will be only that much. But if you use the machine knowledge, nowadays machine is not a machine. It is a knowledge. It is giving us knowledge. Your knowledge with the machine knowledge, you will become bigger than anybody else. So it is up to us to use machine knowledge. That is why this girl, when she was introducing Eric Boston, he says, machine intelligence is supposed to be the last invention. So the extent we use, that is going to be matter. Now we used to talk about India. Now India story, let me tell India story. Before 1991, there is one popular book, World is Flat. Thomas Frick, he has written that book, sold 5 million copies, translated into 37 languages. World is flat. In which two things he has said. He says, I am telling world, not treating world is equal. But here, more number of people from different part of the areas, they come together, they work together, they compete, they cooperate, and they excel. He further says, that is why the people from Bangalore, they are using the data produced by American doctors. The people from Bangalore, they are using the X-rays generated by West Germany. So all people have become equal. Further, he has put one important story about India. Before that, the American mothers, when they give food to the children, they used to say, "Arey, don't waste the food." People in India, they are waiting for this food. Don't waste it. The same mothers, after 1991, when their children are playing, wasting their time, they used to say, "Please, do not waste time. Otherwise, Indians will take away your job." So, same story changed. That is what he has put it. Now, if you look into some more I will tell. We had problem before 1991. After 1991, we call it as a era of Manmohan Singh. America, they had a crisis. 1929, Great Depression. 2008, subprime crisis. And even all big Asian tigers, we have talked about Korea. They had a problem. 1998-99. All Asian tigers failed. Mexico failed. Argentina failed. Russia failed 1991-1998. Oh, almost. Many countries have failed. But India has not failed. India never faced crisis. That is the strong foundation which we have put. We might have lost in the manufacturing stage, but we have done extremely well during the service sector boom. Same thing, now we are talking about the age or era of data. Now we have great demographic power. We have to utilize that. If we utilize that, when we use more and more data, when we use more and more AI, we will become not only powerful country in the world, we can reach number one country in the world, powerful in all aspects. Now the AI, when you look into number of AI, see one person, when OpenAI, that company has produced ChatGPT in the year 2015, people used to say that is going to create another wave. That is going to create a big boom like what was created by electricity. That is going to be big invention. Now we have more than 100 generative AI company startups in India. More than 70,000 AI companies are there in the world. 11.5 companies in the world, they are using AI. China supposed to be the first country which has deployed 58% of the Chinese companies are using AI. We are second. 57% of Indian companies are using AI. The AI growth rate, $62 billion, that is the 2022. It is going to become $183 billion worth of economy for AI alone in the year 2028. So the growth rate of AI is approximately from 24% to 30%. Right. So AI going to be the talk of the town. AI going to be part of you. All right. So now let me tell one more popular book. Right. That when I have studied, that was a very, very popular book. That is a Future Shock, written by Alvin Toffler, 1970. 6 million copies sold. Right. That is the gentleman introduced. Learn, unlearn, relearn. That word coined by that gentleman. He said the future, because of the technology, change in technology, it is going to give a shock to you. It is going to give a shock to you. Right? So what you have learned, unlearn, you relearn this technology. Then only you can survive. He has written another book in the year 1980 that is called Third Wave. He said first wave is agriculture wave, second wave is industry wave, third wave is IT wave. Now we are in the fourth wave, which is going to be AI wave. So which is going to create a big hit, right? We have to change ourselves, right? So there is this one, change yourself in Alvin Toffler way. That is a great saying. So we have to change ourselves, right? One problem is, I am into analytics, right? Some time back, see, I was learning the SPSS, how to use statistics. Then I have learned almost. Then people said, no, there is EVs also, you have to learn. Then they said you have to learn R. Then they said you have to learn Python. So we have to learn every day. Right? I used to tell it to my technology students. If you want to stand in a place, normally what you have to do, you have to stand. But in the technology field, if you want to stand in a place, you have to run. Then only you can stand because the ground is running. Right? So we have to change ourselves, we have to utilize ourselves, otherwise it is going to give a big shock. Already we have 9 to 10%, 7, 8 unemployment rate, especially if you take the graduates, unemployment rate is 17%, but uneducated people unemployment rate is only 3%. Right? We have to change ourselves, we have to utilize, right? That is the way for the success, that is the way you can contribute to the development of the country. So let us utilize AI, let us talk about AI, that is going to the power, right? So that is going to the power, so let us use the power, let us become powerful, let us make the country powerful. Thank you very much, Apple.
Our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Tarnikarasu, our Chief Guest for today, Mr. Krishnamurthy and Mr. Rajmadaram, our beloved Dean, Professor Malavika Dio, our dynamic head of the department, Professor Kasilingam, faculty members, colleagues, and my dear students. It's a pleasure for me to introduce the theme for Synaptic, which is generative brilliance. Yeah, that not a day goes by when we don't see a mention of the word AI in the newspaper. What started as a whisper on 30th of November 2022 has become a tidal wave, which seeks to envelop us all. And we are seeing several advantages that AI can bring to our lives in terms of efficiencies, in terms of equalizing access to markets. We, as Sir mentioned, HOD mentioned, food wastage. There is now an AI which monitors food wastage from restaurants. It's called as Winnow. And companies like Google and Microsoft are seeing an exponential growth because of their investment in artificial intelligence. And it is also predicted that the world economy, the AI, generative AI, will infuse $15.7 trillion into the world economy due to generative AI. And tomorrow, our co-worker may be an AI partner or an AI agent. And as we see these advantages, there are a few caveats that we need to also remember. There are concerns regarding the data that is being used to train the AI. There is concerns of data regulation or regulating the interaction that AI has with humans. And there are concerns regarding, as Sir said, that now parents in the US tell their children, be careful, yeah, Indians will take your jobs. Now we have to tell people, be careful, AI is there to take your jobs. Yeah? So we need to caution people to be prepared, because AI is seeking to replace human intelligence. The human brain is a marvelous thing. It has 100 trillion neurons in it, which are connected by synapses or synaptics, yeah, which is the name of our event. And we have not fully understood the depth of what the human brain is capable, but generative AI has managed to replace, or to a certain extent replicate, human capability. And in this age, it is very important that for our students, the theme of the Synaptic, we chose it to be generative brilliance because we wanted our students to delve deep into this topic, to understand the implications of this wave which is going to overtake us all. And we also would like to have our students ride this wave. We would like them to surf the wave, and that's the reason why we chose generative brilliance as the topic for Synaptic. And we hope that through the day's deliberations, our students will gain knowledge and they will take this with them, take the learning from the panel members, esteemed panel members with them for their future. Thank you all for being with us today. Thank you so much.
A very good morning to all present here, respected dignitaries on the dais, honored Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Tarnikarsu, the chief guest of the day, Venkatraman Krishnamurthy, and the keynote speaker, Mr. Raj Madhuram, Head of the Department of Management Studies, Professor Kasilingam, my colleague and the faculty coordinator, Kevin, and the student coordinator, the faculty from DMS, the faculty from other departments, guests, speakers and panelists for this program, students, scholars, guests. It's very heartening to stand before you, to be the head of this school wherein DMS is the firstborn. DMS started with the university as the first academic unit of the university, and since then it has grown leaps and bounds. Not only the department has grown, the department has encouraged or guided to get into the other specialized management departments under the School of Management. The School of Management comprises of 6 departments and almost 9 to 10 courses. Along with the management, we have commerce as well as economics, who are the part and parcel of the School of Management, because without economics, without business studies, the management studies will not be complete. So whenever there is a requirement, they get inputs from these departments. Hence, our School of Management is a wholesome school wherein all type of business studies, all type of inputs for business studies or management expertise are there. And the School of Management has grown into such an extent that you name any specialized management thought or management studies, we have. Being the firstborn, as I told you, it has led so many other departments, management departments. At the same time, it also has not stopped. It is not the mentor for other departments. It also has not stopped to grow. The department has grown as far as number of students are concerned. It also has grown as far as another very, very pertinent and very, very required business studies in form of MBA data analytics. It just started as only management studies. Now it has It has not remained as it was, and it has updated itself. And the most vibrant, most required business studies, that is data analytics, has been taken up by the Department of Management Studies. I congratulate the department for thinking ahead, because many departments remain as they start or confined to how they had started, but this department has taken up a very innovative MBA program in name of the data analytics. As you know, and now today's theme is on AI. As you know, because the data analytics earlier, of course, whenever we take decisions, there is a need for the decisions have to be backed up by the data. Now, just like that, if you take a decision without any backing, decision may go wrong. To make it ensure that decision is right, or so we need data. Now, how much data we can process? How much data we can analyze? It is not only the data. If a big chunk of data is given, we cannot take the decision. The data need to be analyzed. And unless the data is analyzed properly, we are not going to, though data may be an input for decision making, data analytics become the way in which the data has to be made prepared for decision making. Earlier, data were analyzed with just a graph, just percentage, because there was no other way to analyze the data. Afterwards, some statistical tool came, but there also our hands were bound. We were not able to analyze the data, big data or a large number of data. Computer came, we could analyze with some softwares. We were able to, as Professor Kasilingam was telling, we started with the very, very fundamental tools. Now, as the data, because is pouring in, it's humanly not possible to analyze the data, and the human brain is not so big enough, because it discards half of the data, keeps what is required. It cannot keep all the data and analyze the data. There is a need for support. If we think of, but the human brain is capable enough to think of what can be done and how it is to be done. If we think of this AI is not a new idea. It has originated long back in Greece, and it is with the thought of thinking machine. Can there be a possibility of thinking machine? Like in our Mahabharata, we have seen, Ramayana, we have seen flying machine. Ravana was able to kidnap Sita with a flying machine. Now, in Greece, people also have thought, can there be a possibility of thinking machine, wherein lot of data can be put and machine will process the data, give the answer. And now AI has become the reality. Earlier, when these helps were not there, always we think, whenever we want to decide, we have to ask, or we have to follow up on the experienced people. The people who have experience, they have gone through different type of situation. These are nothing but the data that has been in the minds of people, and they have processed, they give inputs and they give ideas how it can be, the decision can be taken. Many a times, always, when we were children, we were asked to talk to the elders. the elders, the grandparents, they used to help us in deciding. What was it? It was nothing but data analysis. They had the experience, they have seen lot of situations, those data are in their brain. Based on that, they have analyzed and they help us in doing the data analysis and take the decisions. Now, there is no need, and many a times, even if you have the experience, you might not have got the exposure of all type of situation, all type of possible situation. In that case, maybe even an experienced person also will not be able to guide you properly, because he might not, or he or she might not have been exposed to all type of situation, all type of data. Hence, decision might not be as we want or that correct. Now, the human brains have been thought of how the data is being processed. Now we have got a mechanical device to process the data, wherein lot of data can be put, and it's not possible to analyze so much of data at a time. Hence, AI has paved the way for the data analytics. As the data is pouring in, the data analytics day by day is developing, and that is the reason there are so many, just Professor Kasilingam was telling, there are so many startups using AI. AI has become the order of the day. There is no escape from it, and possibly within very short time, 1 or 2 years or 3 years maximum, those who are not using AI will become obsolete. AI has come with a thumping, majority, you can say, thumping one, that it has come to stay. It is for us how we are using, but at the same time, the technology is an enabler. At the same time, technology is a disruptor also. Many people are skeptic about it. Just now, Kevin was telling that how the data is being fed, what is the type of data that is going into the analysis, and how it is being used. Many times I say that if a very high-tech car is being manufactured, and off and on it is meeting with an accident, do we blame the technology? Do we blame the car? Do we blame the road? No. Now, one should know how to drive a high-tech car in a particular type of road. It is the driver who uses the car should have knowledge about the road, should have knowledge about the technology. He should have knowledge about the traffic. If that is the case, anywhere you can use, it should not prevent you to buy a high-tech car. It should not, because we are skeptic. Always what happens, we see that these type of cars are meeting with an accident, so it is better not to use the car. Now we see, listen, that if the roads are very, very, smooth, many accident happens. Shall we see that the roads should not be smooth? Roads need to be smooth. The cars need to be high-tech. And can we stop that traffic should not be there so that we will be able to drive our cars? No, that also we cannot do. Everybody need to be there. So the ultimate is how to use. The person who is operating should know the technique, should be aware of the environment, should be aware of how it is to be used. Then there is no problem. You can use those, say, technology anywhere you want, to your convenience, to your ease, to make life easy. The skepticism is like that. So now many people have doubt, but things will happen, that regulations will come, the things will come which will set everything right. So we hope AI is going to be the order of the time. AI is going to be, and the students of this data analytics are fortunate that you are getting the knowledge before you enter into your job market. And as I told you, very soon all the jobs require the knowledge of AI, and you are being trained, you are made the industry suitable before when you are studying your post graduation. I hope you will take the maximum advantage of the experienced people here. Just before that, I was telling about we were asking or the experienced people who are dealing with that to get the knowledge and what to do and what not to do. Similar way, now the practitioners are there with you. A plethora of experts are going to address you. I hope this experience will be a great experience. At a time, we don't get so many people together. When you are students, then only we get an opportunity to meet so many people, to learn from so many people, to get, say, inputs from different people, so that it helps us in, again, data processing in our mind, if not through AI. So I wish this program a great success, and I congratulate the department for thinking ahead and going ahead. Always, please, there are two ways: look back, go ahead, or don't look back, go ahead. AI is no need to look back, go ahead, because by looking back, you may lose time. Just now, Professor Kasilingam was telling that if you waste your time, somebody will take away. Don't waste your time, go ahead, ahead and ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your words of encouragement. We are pleased to introduce our chief guest, Mr. Venkatraman Krishnamurthy, General Manager, HR Ashok Leyland. Sir has 27 years of experience in HR and varied industries from cement, pharma, auto ancillaries, and auto OEM. He has high-level proficiency in leadership development, employee engagement, employee retention, and white-collar productivity. He is a certified performance and career coach. He was awarded the Best Social Worker by Bishop Heber College. He was also awarded Distinguished Alumni by IMT Ghaziabad. Sir, we are grateful for your presence here today. We request you to kindly deliver the inaugural address.
Thank you. My wishes to the distinguished people present on the dais, the Vice Chancellor, the Dean, and my friend Raj Madhuram, and HOD Mr. Kasilingam. First and foremost, I should thank Professor Riyasuddin for calling me for this event. Honestly, I was not supposed to come. One of my colleagues, Shashi, should be here. And Shashi last minute called me and said, you need to be part of the inauguration of Synaptic. I was slightly on dilemma because it's about AI, generative AI, and it's about, science behind AI. Am I the right person? Then I thought about what we are doing in AI for last 7-8 years in Ashok Leyland in my previous organization. Anything to do with redesigning of jobs, anything to do with the structure changing the organization, anything to do with the culture changing the organization, HR has a bigger role to play. So in that context, I thought I should be the right person coming over here. And again, thanks to Riyasuddin once more. Why? Because this has helped me to bridge or develop a bond with my son. Because my son is in third year computer science engineering. And we never discussed much in depth in any of the topics. It was just I say, hi, bye. And more importantly, whenever IPL happens, we used to discuss in depth. Otherwise, not much on subject, not much on anything else. So again, thanks to you, because I had to talk to him, understand about prompt engineering. I had to talk to him, understand about the science behind AI. And half an hour to 45 minutes of discussion, I started where I was. But then I thought, let me not discuss about the science behind AI. A lot of content-rich speech here. Professor Kasilingam and our dean gave a lot of content-rich explanation, a lot of content-rich information. One thing I would like to tell is, like, the most used word is after 1920 is ESG and AI. Why ESG? Because everybody is taking a stand. Everybody is putting their roadmap for neutral carbon. They say, even Ashok Leyland says, by 2045, all our vehicles will be with advanced technologies. We will not use any fossil fuels. So we are into a lot of alternative technologies, starting from hydrogen fuel cell, hydrogen ice, CNG, LNG, electric trucks. If the market disrupts in the next 4 or 5 years, we have product ready in terms of all advanced technologies. In that context, ESG and AI. If you ask me AI, are we there? I was slightly taken back when Dean Ma'am said, you all will become obsolete in another 2-3 years. My God. We are there in terms of talking more about it. We are there wherever we could incorporate AI to some extent, around 20-30%. If you ask me, are we there fully taking the advantage of AI? We are not there. The talk has started, the discussion has started. So we have a long way to go in manufacturing. And I was also happy when Professor said that we have lost manufacturing to Europe and America. We have lost IT boom to Europe and America. Now we are the equal platform. We are on the equal platform with the West, with China, in terms of what we can do in AI, what we can do in data analytics. So in that context, you're the people who are going to build New India. You're the people who are going to build what India wants to achieve in 2047. So in that context, more responsibility and more opportunity for you. Having said this, I'm not going to give a monologue. I'm not going to give a lecture. You guys would have listened a lot of lecture in your class. I know at some lectures what happened. And what happens in some lecture, I'm very sure about it because I was also a student like you. I'm going to tell you a personal, where I was observant, a case study in one of the company which I worked. I will not tell the company. It was a real, case study. Why you need to be attentive is, after presenting this case study, I'll be asking a lot of questions. And through the questions, I'll be driving what you need to keep in mind when you're an AI professional. Because I heard from Charu ma'am, you guys not only doing Pythons, doing embedded or whatever it is, you're also guys who are going to drive the business. So AI will be part of your business. And as a business analyst, what you're going to do, how you're going to take your company to the future. So in that context, this case study will be a combination of business and AI. Are we there? Yes, sir. So you give both your ears to me, have a patient listening, then we'll have I won't say discussion, a question, and whatever points you have, you can share with me. So in that context, I make sense for my 20 minutes here, and you also have a definite takeaways. See, when the buzz of digitization, AI, all those things were going on in 2017-18, one company was a prominent company in manufacturing has decided we need to have a chief digital officer. we need to have a chief digital officer who should be at a CXO level, driving digitization, AI, Industry 4.0, IoT, whatever you call in the organization. And this company went ahead, recruited a chief digital officer. This digital officer is from Big Four. He was from Ernst Young, EY, and he joined the company, and he was also Gango. Okay? And this company boasted, we are the first manufacturing company across India to appoint a chief digital officer, and we are leading in the way. After a couple of years, the chief digital officer went and met the CEO and said, I'm not going to continue in the organization, I'm planning to leave. Chief digital officer at a CXO level, close to 3 crores CTC, and he said after 2 years he's going to leave. What would have been the reason? What would have been the reason? Any answer, because I don't expect a bigger observation or bigger thinking from you guys. Anything is okay. Any silly response is also okay. What do you think?
A lot of changes in the processes.
No, I want from the students. Okay, the culture, that's one point. Yeah, maybe the culture.
We are always students.
Go on, sir. The culture. What else? Huh? What? Oh, food. Chief digital officer is joining for the reason of food. I don't think so. It might be for an entry-level job. Even this entry-level job guys are not bothered much about food. They're not even bothered about managers. If they're going to get great learning in the organization, they're not bothered. Even the manager is a bad manager or whatever term you call it.
Not much creativity.
Culture, not much creativity. Okay.
No proper utilization of his resources.
Wonderful, no proper utilization. See, at CXO levels, you have to create your own path. You have to create your own roadmap in that context. Anything else?
Maybe you joined thinking of a change in the company, but no change happened. His position was still the same. Or just the position that no change happened with his new post in the company.
Yeah. I'll be partially with you in the sense, the culture which she talked about, the environment should be conducive enough for him to work on digitization and think on digitization. But the second part is, I would blame not the company, on the chief digital officer also. Why? Because when you're bringing about a new change in the organization, you need to talk more about the benefits of the organization. You should not talk something on the business re-engineering, which is going to take the business to the down level. So you should talk about the benefits. You need to talk about the ROI, what the initiative you're going to take. The ROI on the investment, what the company is going to make, the ROI on the other impact, which is beneficial for the organization. He should be also a proponent. He should also be a evangelist talking about the need of EI and the ROI part of it. In that context, he's a high, rich intellectual. He can do a lot of things in AI and data management, but still the benefit what the organization is going to get out of his intervention has not been clearly spelled out. Guys, I don't want any disturbance, please. I don't want any disturbance. Both these things. One is the culture, the environment, whether the organization is ready to take up this initiative. The second is the responsibility of the CDO in terms of propagating, convincing the management and making a culture of AI and whatever it is into the organization. It's both the responsibility. And the second is, as the organization evolved, it's a CDO's responsibility to drive that roadmap and make the role of a data analyst or business analyst or a CDO flourish in the organization. That was too early in 2017-18. If you would have joined at this point of time, 24, I think you would have been more successful. A lot of things have been put in place. Why I'm saying this is, as a business person, because the expectation is very, very high from you guys. Because if it is going to be a B guy who's in a computer science guy, he will be given a task, ask him to prepare coding, he will do the coding and give the result to you. And you have got a major responsibility in terms of why you are doing the coding, what impact it is going to have on the business, what impact it is going to have in the people's job, okay? And more importantly, what is the ROI out of it? So you have a huge responsibility, not only being a data analyst and also thinking about business in the long run. If someone has to do from you in that sense, you need to talk about from the initial business case to the final business case, the entire process, AI and data analyst being part of it. That's a huge responsibility you have, and that's the advantage you have too. And when the CDO was asked to prepare a roadmap and give the roadmap in next 6 months, working with all the departments. If I say working with all the departments, he has to work with sales and marketing, he has to work with operations, he has to work with logistics, he has to work with supply chain, he has to work with HR, finance, and say that these are the 5-6 areas which we are going to take it up in each of the function, and this function is going to incorporate digitization through AI or whatever means into their function. So this CDO worked with all the functions. He worked with HR also. I was also part of that team which worked with the CDO. We came out with 5 areas. These are the 5 areas which will be enabled by AI, enabled by this new technology in HR. The first and foremost was, you all know, onboarding and recruitment. What are you going to do in onboarding? Hire candidates, lot of forms to be filled, lot of details have to be taken, and for that reason, you had digitized onboarding. For this digitized onboarding, we created a chatbot. We created AI-powered mechanism out there, and we were doing it, and it was costing less time. Okay, HR executive or the front line, they need to spend with the candidates for 2 to 3 days on finalizing all the information, getting the documents done from them. It will take 2 to 3 days. Somewhere, they will not have these documents brought. They will have something in their native place. All those things will take another 2 to 3 days. So this is before joining, you make online digitization where they will be giving all the documents and submitting. And once they join, the hassles of onboarding is completely done with. Okay. This was the first area which the CDO recommended to the apex body. Okay, 5 areas. This is the first area. The CDO recommended to the apex body because that was a nascent initial stage. So everything has to be taken to the apex body and made discussion out there and finalized out there. So now everybody clapped their hands. Everybody were very happy, saying that this is a good thing. We don't lose much of a time. We have people who work from the day one, start from the day one, and this is going to be great. I will not ask question on this. Why? Because it is a clear-cut say. Why it is successful? Time is saved. What else? Cost. What else? Resources. In terms of resources, how? Human resources. He might be using 2-3 days on this job, and more of a transactional job, more of a repetitive job. He can be used better in a different job. That 3 days of productivity can be used somewhere else differently. Okay. The second thing which he proposed to the apex body was chatbot. For all the transaction related matters in the organization, we will use chatbot answering the queries of the employees. He said, anything you ask this chatbot will answer you, so that the HR executive need not answer the employees. So all these matters will be taken up. A red flag was raised in the apex body. No, it cannot happen for entire life cycle management of the employee. It can be only selective. Why only selective? Because at the end of a person leaving the organization, the resignation process, if I'm not going to talk to him directly, or if I'm not going to spend time with him, I'm not going to get the reasons for his exit, and I'm not able to retain him in the organization, because human resources, especially for niche position, these are very critical for the organizations, and I'm not able to retain them. Then what else? Then he said, for induction, you cannot have a online, online platform where people try to understand from different functional head what their functions are delivering to the organization and integrating into them. They said it cannot happen. Why? It's because the new incumbent who's working in sales in some other remote place, that's the opportunity for him to know about the functional head, to maintain relationship, to build relationship with the functional head, and more importantly, create a network within the organization, and a shop floor guy. And shop floor guy knowing about different value-add functions, it is an opportunity. So induction cannot be through online, cannot be through digitization. So what do you infer from this? What do you infer from this? Come on, guys. What do you infer from this? On the induction and the resignation and retention, people said we'll not go with the AI, we will not go with chatbot, we will not go by any digitization. Why it is? She says it's personal touch. So what you can't bring with an AI? Emotions, then personal touch, what else? Come on, emotions, personal touch, reactions. See, you take decisions based on the reactions, you take decisions based on the emotions. Always, whatever said is not something true. There are a lot of things which is happening in the background, which is happening in the brain of each individual. For example, whatever communicated, they say it is only 7%. The body language constitutes 55%. And the tone constitutes for another 38%. If AI can decipher the body language, if AI can decipher the tonality out of which the person communicates, the way he communicates, do you think AI can make effective decisions based on the emotions and feelings, the tones, the body language of an individual? Maybe you have experts sitting over here, they can also come out and say there is an AI program done where emotions can be captured. Maybe possible in the future. So wherever there is human interaction, wherever there is some decision based out of emotions, some decisions to be made out of feelings, some decisions made out of human interaction, basically, I don't think so AI can work. Third and fourth area which this CDO recommended was performance coach, AI mentor coach, which he said. Again, a lot of eyebrows were raised, saying that for scheduling meetings, for understanding what has happened in the previous meeting and this meeting, it can aid the coach. It cannot become a mentor coach. It can aid the coach in terms of what decisions has been made in the last meeting, what decisions has been made, how the decision is going to help for the future goal of the coachee. So it can aid the coach, not a complete replacement of the coach. Again, the CD was struck there. And he wanted to propagate a mentor coach through AI. And again, this mentor coach proposal was shot down. What would you think if this mentor coach has to be successful with this apex body? What could have the CDO done? Guys, think. If the mentor coach proposal, mentor coach is nothing but it can become a performance coach for employees who are not performing well. It can elevate the skill set of the people. It can answer all related queries of the employee. It can coach a person from X level to transform him to X+1 level. Okay, this is mentor coach. Again, this proposal was shot down. One thing I said was, it can schedule, it can make the gaps between two sessions. It can schedule what has been discussed, how it is getting aligned to the goals of the coachee. Even this, there was complete, not open for this, because coach is something personal. Coach should work along with an employee, and it is a constant 6 to 8 months of intervention which he has to do for making the employee moving from X to X+1 level. What would have the CDO done if he has to make this proposal of mentor coach through with this apex body? Think wild. Think wild. Maybe one response from that side. You're getting me, right? You're getting me? And we are not the people who are going to create codes, write codes, and do prompt engineering, learn prompt engineering and do what? No. We are far beyond that. We are going to extrapolate our thinking and talking the impact on the business. Anybody?
Trial test,
Yeah?
a live demo, a trial test on one person, check his performance over the weeks, and then show it to the CEO.
Yeah. That's one wonderful response. We could have made people to experience it. For example, anything with AI, what happens, you need to make the people to experience it, to understand firsthand, because sitting behind and having something in their mind and giving an impression that they have understood it will not take places. Somewhere you need to make them to experience, understand firsthand, saying that how it is going to be beneficial as a coach for me. Because what strikes is, I am a coach in the organization, there's going to be an AA coach, my job becomes redundant. That's the first thing which will come to the front of the mind, this prefrontal cortex, and they'll completely object to it. Make the coach to experience it. Second, if the CDO has thought about the return of investment on making a coach, for example, for all the assessments, okay, for all performance coach, you hire people from outside. You hire for assessment, you book a auditorium, or you book, a hotel outside and make a assessor come from outside and do this assessment and also do a performance coaching. Think about how many performance coaches you engage in the organization. Think about how many days you are spending. Think about how much money you spend on assessment and performance coaching. And if this is done by AI, I'm not saying complete performance coach, a part of it, 25-30% is done by AI. Think about the ROI for the organization. Nobody would have thought about it, because assessment and performance coach is very dear to the organization, and they'll spend crores and crores of money into that. But tell them there's going to be an online assessment. The assessment is done for 2 days in a physical room. The same assessment can be done in half a day through AI digitization. So in that context, what is the amount of money you're going to save? What is the amount of time you're going to save? What is the cost benefit out of it? If the CDO would have spoken about this ROI, in the apex body, what would have happened? The eyebrows would have gone up. The eyebrows would have gone up and said, this is going to save 10 crores per year when I do this online assessment and when I have a performance coach. So talking about ROI is important, and the scalability. And how many assessment you do in a year? For first-time managers, I do 100 assessment. For leaders, I do another 150 assessment. For new joiners in niche position, I do another 100 assessment, 350 assessment. And what is the time taken for this? I have the entire team of 5 to 6 people who are working this assessment full time. And if I digitize at least 75% of it, I have cost benefit, the scale is there because 350 assessment in a year, and I can utilize the 5-6 resources in a very effective way in a different jobs. So this ROI, if the CDA would have spoken to the apex body, it would have happened. And the final thing which he was talking about is on the skill gap analysis between two competencies, and it was agreed in the first instance. Why? Because it is not much of a work for a physical employee. It is more of an analysis. It's more of to understand on given competency, where do these people stay before the training, what was their competency level, and after training, what is the competency level, what is the competence level improvement, and this AI related product should analyze that and give a output to the managers, where managers will take a concrete decision out of it. So these are 5 things, and think about this only from HR. You would have done for marketing, you would have done for sales, you would have done for operations, you would have done for other functions in the organization. If you would have done 3-4 things correctly after 6 months of joining, presenting to the apex body, what are those 3-4 things? What are those 3-4 things? We discussed, right? We discussed. Come on. What are the 3-4 things? No. If you would have done 3-4 things right, at least 70-80% of what he proposed to the apex body would have been approved. What are those 3-4 things you should have done that?
Made them experience the benefits.
Experience 1. What else? ROI, cost benefit. What else? Time, cost, scalability. Good. What else? Don't you think if you would have said with these 5 interventions into HR through AI, I will have 15 jobs redundant. Percentage varies in this 15 job. For example, one job will be 70% redundant, the other job will be 20% redundant. 15 jobs in HR becomes redundant. And if you would have also proposed saying that for this 15 jobs, how the redesigning of their jobs are going to happen, how the job evaluation will be done for this 15 people, and how it would be redesigned so that the productivity of the people could have increased. So this is the 5th element which he should have been spoken, along with the HR head, along with CHR or whoever it is, he should have spoken this also. Because once you talk about AI in the organization, the first and foremost thing is like how many jobs are going to become redundant. That's a fear psychosis grips into the organization. I have 25 years experience of a person. He's a darling to me. He's a delight. See, whatever I am a head of HR. So whatever he has done for me for last 5-6 years, it has made me to prove my mettle. But how can I leave that person? Do you think the coterie created in each of the functions, the blue-eyed boys created in each of the function, would the functional head will openly leave them? Do you think that? They will not leave them. And openly embracing AI and saying that this 15 people jobs will be redesigned, 15 people jobs will be completely different jobs altogether. Would you think it will be openly embraced, openly accepted? What do you think? So going forward on the human part of it, where afternoon session you have one session on the redesigning of jobs. This becomes very, very important and vital. Already if you are in a in an organization where AI has been implemented, I am sure the HR head would have spoken to the CEO, would have had a plan to redesigning job. And no more it is business restructuring. It will be redesigning of the job, utilization of these people to a utmost effective way. The productivity of the organization should improve from X to X+1 level. If at all that is not happening, if the CDO or CHRO is not able to convince the apex body on that, or the board for that matter, do you think AI can deliver what it's supposed to deliver? So it's very important, redesigning of jobs. That's where, in most of the companies, if you see, they are fearful of redesigning this job. They are fearful of having this in-house. I was talking to one of the professors, which all the companies coming to campus. She was saying mostly startups. Why mostly startups? Why not established company taking up this as a bigger intervention and doing it? They wanted to outsource it to a startup and make analysis done through a startup and give, and the managers and the leaders of the organization will get the interpretation out of it and use it for the business. Why it's been pushed to the startup and not the established companies like Ashok Leyland, TAFE, or Mahindra's not taking it up. They have analysis team, they have business team out there. It's more of a business and less of analysis. There are a lot of things which I've spoken, which is a fear for a bigger organization. As Madam rightly said, compared to 22 and 24, bigger change. If you ask employees in 22, post-COVID, they'll say AI is not going to. 20 out of 100 employees would have said AI is not going to. AI is going to make a difference. 20% of the employees would have said in 2022. Within short span of 2 years, 70% of your employees are going to say or saying that AI is going to have an impact. Because I am feeling that in my organization itself. Because everyone, even a product development engineer who is a scientist, wanted to take up a course in AI and data analytics and wanted to shift to the data analytics team of Ashok Leyland. There's a IT and data analytics team where the data analytics for the entire organization is done by this team. They wanted to move there. I have a bigger challenge in terms of retaining this employee in product development. So that kind of emergence of AI has been seen in last 2 years. As rightly said, that it's no longer in 2030 you will have a lot of AI into the organization. It's given, because if everyone knows about the contribution to the business, the analysis to the business, the predictive nature of AI will play a huge role. If I have to do a stay-in interview and give a data to AI saying that which employee will stay in the organization, it will predict out of this 10, 3 or 4 employees are going to stay for a longer period of time. This is a useful inference from an AI data analysis saying that these are the people who are going to stay with the organization. I can build on that. It cannot be complete one intervention from AI, but I should build upon that. My HR guy should build upon that, talking to them, trying to put an individual development plan for them and making them to stay with the organization. In terms of retention, it's going to play a huge role. I can keep on telling more areas in HR where AI can make a huge difference. Keep this 5-6 things in your mind. If you want AI to make a major difference, this is going to be a game changer. This is going to help me out. This is going to make an impact. And if you're not able to sell it across with proper justification, proper business case, you're not going to, and you're not a coders. You're not just coders sitting on a room and doing it what your manager asks or what your business asks. You're far beyond that. So in that context, have this business imperatives in your mind. Why AI? What impact it is going to create? That why part of it, be very clear apart from your AI intervention, which makes your AI intervention more successful and more companies embrace it. Because you're going to be business analyst, not only data analyst. With this, thanks for giving me this opportunity, and whatever means I can support for Pondicherry University, I may also do it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable insights with us today. Next, Our keynote speaker is Mr. Raj Madhuram, co-founder and CTO, C1X Incorporation. Sir is responsible for developing advanced AdTech and MarTech products. He has worked at Yahoo in Santa Clara, California, where he was part of a high-profile team called Moneyball that built a successive native ad platform. Sir is also the developer of FireEns, a build visualization tool that won the 2004 IBM International Challenge for Eclipse contest. Sir, we are grateful for your gracious presence here today. We request you to kindly deliver the keynote address.
Okay, good morning. So yeah, it's wonderful to be here with you. Thanks to the faculty and the students for the invitation. So the theme of the Synaptic 24 is generative brilliance. So first of all, congratulations to all students and the faculty for conducting this event. So this is really a wonderful event and a wonderful topic as well. So just did a play on words, actually, play on the letters rather. So even brilliance has AI in it, right? So it is generative AI brilliance. So the talk is about how can we achieve brilliance using generative AI? Okay, so that's what I'm going to be talking on. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so this joke came on my LinkedIn feed just recently. So the fastest things on earth, right? Cheetah, airplane, speed of light, but the most fastest is people becoming experts in AI. So I don't consider myself an expert in AI. Because there's so many things that's happening on a day-to-day basis, right? It's really hard to keep up with everything that's going on out there. But I like to build things, and I'm very curious about what AI, and in particular generative AI, has to, how it can help me build new things, new creative things, and that's what I've been focusing on. So can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So before we go into the topic, I just want to level set. So what we understand by generative AI, right? So this is a definition from Wikipedia. So generative AI is AI capable of generating text, images, videos, or other data using generative models, often in response to prompts. So when we say generative, because it's generating stuff, right? It's generating text or images, it could be videos, code. People use it for a lot of code generation nowadays, even 3D models, you name it. So many different artifacts can be generated out of these machine learning models, what we call as generative models, often in response to prompt. That's why basically you give a prompt to it. So you basically ask something in English, right? Mostly in English. And then it basically responds to the prompt with an output. That's what's called the generative AI. So actually I was listening to, I think it was Jan LeCun. He mentioned that the most important programming language today is English, right? So we talk about Python, C++, and all the other languages, or JavaScript, but the most important language is English. So it's basically the prompts that we are going to give. It's going to drive the generation of this new the outputs that we are able to produce. Can you go to the next slide, please? So there's a tremendous interest regarding generative AI, right? So there is something called trends.google.com. I don't know how many of you have used trends.google. So if you want to understand how popular some keyword is, right, at any moment, you can go to trends.google and type in a keyword, and it will tell you how important at any point of history, or for the last few years it was. So I just typed in AI and ChatGPT, right? So the AI is in blue, ChatGPT is in red. So you can see that, as ma'am was mentioning, Dr. Kavin ma'am was mentioning, October, November 2002, right? So you can see the spike going up in both the terms, AI as well as ChatGPT. So basically, ChatGPT brought AI and generative AI to the masses, to the general public, because before that, AI was basically confined to the research labs, big companies that were doing a lot of data science and so on. But I think what basically brought into the general public was ChatGPT, right? How many of you has used ChatGPT? Everybody, right? Yeah, thank you. So it is basically a game changer, right? So as you can see from this graph, it's gaining popularity. And can you go to the next one? You probably have seen this slide in LinkedIn field many places. Path to 100 million users, right? So Telegram, when it launched, it took 5 years for it to get 100 million users. And then Spotify, 55 months. Pinterest, 41 months. Instagram 30 months, TikTok 9 months, right? It still took 9 months to get to 100 million users. ChatGPT, when it was launched, 2 months, within 2 months, it went to 100 million users. So that was the importance, right? It's a really groundbreaking software or technology that you might call it. So can you go to the next? Yeah. So how I have structured my talk is basically to spend a few minutes on the past through my personal lens. I'm going to talk a lot of history here. And also we'll talk a little bit about the present state of generative AI. And then future, how can we be a part of it, but rather not only be a part of it, but how can we shape it, right? So how, as students of business administration, how you guys can shape the future of generative AI. Yeah, can you go? Yeah, skip. Okay, so people have been very interested in having a conversation with a computer, right, for a long time. So in 1950, Alan Turing came up with a Turing test, basically. So what it meant was like, if a machine can engage in a meaningful conversation without being detected as a machine, it has demonstrated human intelligence. So that was the basic essence of Turing test. Any of you heard about Turing test? Not many. Okay, so that's kind of the benchmark. So if a machine can demonstrate, you can say a machine has got a human intelligence if you cannot tell a difference between a human and a machine, basically, right? So that's what Alan Turing conceptualized in 1950. And then 1996, there was a system called ELIZA. How many of you heard about ELIZA? Okay, good. So ELIZA was a chatbot. 1966, you should understand the year, right? 1971, microprocessors came into picture. So there was no computer, like no PC, nothing, right? It was like huge mini computers, custom built with all ICs and transistors, put together, vacuum tubes maybe. But then they had like terminal prompts. And within that, 1966, MIT, can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So it was in 1960, Joseph Weizenbaum of MIT developed this chatbot called ELIZA, okay? So what it basically does, can you go to the next click? Yeah, it's called a Rogerian psychotherapist. It's a big word, but I didn't know what the meaning was, but I Googled it. What it means is like, if you go to a therapist, right, like if you go to a psychologist, mostly they will say good things about you, basically. So if they can always say good things about you, then you feel better, basically. So that's the idea. So that's the basic assumption of a Rogerian psychotherapist. But what it did was like many people who interacted with the machine, they thought that they were actually talking to a therapist. Okay, so actually it kind of gave that, kind of fooled them, if you can say. So that was like a spark of intelligence that we saw in 1966. Okay, so can you go to the next one? So 1993. Okay, so I was doing my second year or third year computer science and engineering at GCT Coimbatore, and I went to this competition called Abacus, the computer science department in CAG Gindi. Usually the programming contest, they will give you a big, like one pager with a lot of, what to do, what not to do and stuff like that. But they gave me a very small piece of paper. And it said, write a program to have a semi-intelligent conversation with a computer. Okay, that's all. And you're given 2 hours to do this, right? So how do you do this? How can you, I love programming, I love coding contests, but 2 hours, how can you do something that can have a semi-intelligent conversation with the computer? So I was thinking like, what can I do? So that reminded me of, I read about ELIZA somewhere, right? So I thought, how can I, maybe I can do something like ELIZA. So that's what my thought process was. So I put together a little bit of a tokenizer. Tokenizer is like, you take a sentence, break it down into parts of sentence, try to understand what they are saying, and then create some little bit of logic, right? So basically like, how are you? Then you can say, I'm good, or something like that. So try to understand try to maybe even get some nouns and verbs, create a list of verbs and try to understand. So I hacked together something. Can you go to the next? Yeah, so, past there. So the judge came and she entered, how are you? So my program said, please introduce yourself. So I was basically asking, I was expecting basically for them to introduce themselves before giving any response. So she said, my name is XYZ, I forgot the name. Then my program said, nice to meet you, XYZ, because I basically passed, my name is, I basically took a placeholder, and then I created a response, nice to meet you, something. Okay, good. So then she said, I'm not feeling well, okay? At this point, it said, shall we play a game? And she exclaimed, it looks like Elisa, it seems like Elisa. She just said that. So, okay, mission accomplished, the next part, okay. So, yeah, can you go to the next one? So, I ended up winning the first prize for that, so I'm not making stuff up. Thank you. Yeah. So, okay, I could do the next one, yeah. So that was kind of a little bit of the past history. And how does, now we'll shift the focus to the present scenario, right? So I'll just put a slide, how does LLMs work? So what is an LLM, large language model? So you would have interacted with GPT, 4, 3, maybe ChatGPT. It's a large language model, right? LLMs does not work like how I did, like, can you stay in the previous, yeah. Like how I described. So it doesn't basically, think, it doesn't like try to interpret a lot of different things. The way it worked is like you basically send it a bunch of training data. On the bottom left, you basically feed a lot of training data, right? So ChatGPT are like the new Llama models. Everything is like given a huge corpus of documents, pretty much the entire internet, like all the language, spoken language, written language in the internet. And it creates a large language model. It's basically a neural network. And it has something called a transformer architecture. A transformer architecture, it has encoder and decoder. The math and the technology is super complicated. If you are interested, you can go read a lot of papers. There's a seminal paper called Attention is All You Need. Okay, that's just like 2017. It just started in 2017, right? That was the first paper that was published about transformers. And it just took off like anything, right? And so it has a bunch of transformers which basically try to understand, not necessarily understand, but it exhibits the understanding of semantics. Okay, so it can understand, or it can like know what is in the context, basically establish a context, right? And then as a user, you interact with the LLM by giving a prompt. Okay, so that's the right side, user prompt. And then the LLM basically tries to predict it will predict what is the next word, at one word at a time, right? What is the next word? And then it basically sends you the output. And that's how the entire response is constructed. So this is in a nutshell how a ChatGPT or LLM is working today. Okay, can you go to the next one? So this is the landscape of the current AI 50. So this is coming from Sequoia and Forbes. And as I was mentioning, the landscape changes a lot, right? So this is like just 2 weeks back. So I just tried to plug the latest landscape. So probably I don't know how much you can see there, but it's good to understand who are the players, right? In the current landscape. Just give me a second. Yeah. So we have the infrastructure players in the bottom and the apps on the top. You might have heard about all the cloud providers. All the cloud providers pretty much provide access to different models. And then you have like, the foundation model providers. So foundation models are these large language models for doing multiple things, right? For generating image, generating text, generating videos even. So we have OpenAI. OpenAI is behind ChatGPT on the right side. And then we have Anthropic. They have the cloud models, Mistral. And then you have app development frameworks. This LangChain is very popular. So if you want to tinker with things, if you want to like play with AI, generative AI, LangChain is something that you can use to build. And then we have inference providers, a bunch of like Databricks, Replicate. I'll come to Replicate a little bit later. And then on the top, you have a lot of different apps. And you have like consumer users apps, enterprise stack, industry verticals. So if you take the industry verticals, I'm not going to go through the entire slide. It will be taking a lot of time. But you guys can go. I have a link to all these different things, so you can take a look at your leisure. But the industry verticals, if you see like the creative industry, the generative AI is taken by it has permeated a lot. So if you go to like Midjourney, for instance, anybody have played with Midjourney, generating images? These are things that you can play with actually. You can give a prompt to generate some nice image. It would create a fantastic image. And then lots of creative, even like Canva. I think you probably have used Canva, Figma. You guys have used, right? Canva has AI, a lot of stuff built in already. I use like Filmora, Wondershare. The other day I opened and it said create a video with AI, right? So everywhere AI is coming up. So many things, right? And you have consumer apps and enterprise stack. So even in enterprise apps, you have like a lot of adoption, Notion, Tom, and all these different companies are there. And productivity, Notion, again. And so, yeah, again, like I'm not going to go through all these things, but these are the top companies that are being using or like creating applications using generative AI and being pioneer in the field. Okay, so can you go to the next one? I'll also tell a little bit about what we are doing at C1X. So C1X is a company, I am the co-founder and CTO of this company called C1X, Class 1 Exchange. We are based in the Bay Area in the Silicon Valley, and also we have offices in Chennai and in Japan, Tokyo as well. So we have a data science team. We do a lot of AI. We do a lot of POCs within what we can do what we can imagine doing things in the ad tech space and the marketing technology in general. So some of the things I just highlighted. One of the things that we are building is a recommendation system, right? So there's something called user journey. So let's say a user goes to an e-commerce site, maybe a Shopify site. They go to a landing page, they click on a product, and then they view a couple of products, and then they add it to the cart. So this is what we call as a user journey, right? The user comes to the web page, and what are all the different actions that they have been performing. So we were thinking, can we just take this user journey and try to predict what the user is going to do next, right? And this is also similar to the LLM. So LLMs basically tries to take the sequence of tokens and tries to predict what could be the next token. So we are basically exploring the way of using transformer models to do a recommendation system like that. And also another interesting use case is the ad creative optimization. So imagine like you have one picture, okay, let's say maybe a teacup, and then let's a product picture, right? So maybe somebody took a nice professional photograph of one teacup, but you want to use the teacup in multiple different backgrounds, right? So we are actually developing a technology where we can actually extract the teacup and place it in multiple different scenarios so that you can do product placements personalized to the user segment. Okay, maybe you are basically advertising this product to like an enterprise customer. Then you may want to put it in a very nice enterprise level setting. You can do that. Or if it's in a casual setting, we can also do that in a casual setting. And it's all driven by prompts and using tools like Stable Diffusion. So we are exploring multiple different things. Okay, so the next one. So yeah, this is kind of the present landscape, and we'll talk a little bit about the future. And before going to the future, right? How many of you have heard about this Gartner hype cycle? Anybody? Okay, yeah, a few hands up go up. Like as management students, I think you should be understanding this Gartner hype cycle. So what Gartner does is like they put different technologies on these curves, right? This hype cycle is divided into multiple sections. Any technology that you think about, like a few years back, blockchain was really hot, right? Metaverse, people are talking about metaverse, blockchain, and then all the different technologies. So they all go through this innovation trigger because there's so much interest with a lot of different fascinating ideas, useful thoughts, and it basically triggers the innovations, and then it basically hypes up the interest in the technology. So the expectations go really high for the technology to deliver. So this curve is between time and expectations, right? So initially there's so much hype, it drives up the expectations. And then at the top, we have the peak of inflated expectations. So people are expecting a lot. Okay, this technology is going to change the world, right? How many times we saw that, like, blockchain is going to change the world, or insert your own name there, right? And then we have a trough of disillusionment. So then after a while, people realize that, okay, it's not, maybe it's not going to change the world, but it's going to produce something really, something of interest. So there's a trough of disillusionment, and then there's a slope of enlightenment. So people get enlightened. Okay, it's not going to, really change the world, but we can get something done out of it, right? So what are the practical uses for that? And then we have the plateau of productivity, and then it becomes a mainstream technology at that point. So Gartner, what they did in 2023 October, I think around that time, they put generative AI at the peak of inflated expectations. Okay, because ChatGPT came almost a year ago, and then it really drove up the hype with all these generative technologies. So they placed it at the peak of inflated expectations. Maybe right now we are on the downward slope somewhere, because we are expecting a lot of things to come up after ChatGPT, right? Although a lot of things are coming up, like every week you can see a lot of new things coming up, but it's not like it didn't stay at that level. So you need to understand that it will also go through this trough of disillusionment, and then we will get a lot of productive apps. Yeah, can you go to the next? Yeah. So the future is brilliant, right? So as the speakers before me also said, I think Mr. Krishnamurthy sir also said, like, AI will be part of the business, right? Gen AI will be permeating into several enterprise products. So you guys will be, business leaders in a couple of years from now. You should understand that generative AI will be part of a lot of these products that you are going to be using. On the consumer side, we are still waiting for more killer apps. That's what the peak of the trough of disillusionment. We don't even know whether there is going to be a killer app, on the consumer side. But there are lots and lots of interesting apps. So that's why I think we should keep an eye out for the, what's all available out there. And there's also a focus shift on the quality of data rather than size of the models, right? So recently, Microsoft, a few days back, they released 5.3, a new model, small model, but it is very fantastic. Like, the quality is very high because they trained it on a very quality model, a lot of high quality inputs. So it's not only the amount of huge large language models with 80 billion parameters, 100 billion parameters, but it's also, there's a shift on the quality of data. What is the quality, how do you train the model, which is very important. And then AGI is going to be remaining a dream for a long time. That's what my personal feeling is. Because I think also, like, sir mentioned, we only work with textual data right now, right? But how about body language, sensing inputs? So there's so many other sensory stuff. Also, I was listening to a podcast, Lex Friedman podcast with Jan LeCun. He's the Meta VP, right? So he also mentions, like, you need to have an AI system that can really think. Right now, it's all based on, it's not thinking. It's not grounded in reality that we call it, right? It's not grounded in physical reality. Like, let's say a 17-year-old can learn driving in like 2 months, 2 weeks maybe, 2-3 weeks. But can an AI system do that? It's not possible, right? So we are not, so AGI will remain a dream for quite a bit of time. And last point is, like, AI is not going to take your job. The person who uses AI is going to take your job. This is what Jensen Huang, the NVIDIA president, so he mentioned that. So we have to be equipped to use AI to the best that we can. Yeah, can you go to the next one? So how can we take part and shape the Gen AI future? So there are 3 quick points that I want to make, and I'll leave it at that. First one is to learn about generative AI. So as business students, you need to understand what are the fundamentals, right? How it's going to impact, what are the underpinnings of AI. Even though if you don't want to go into much of a technical depth, I think most of you don't have a technology background or programming background, but you have to understand at least the fundamental level, what all these things, when people talk about training a model, what does it mean? Fundamental things you need to understand. And second one is, like, you have to make something. So tinker with different things. And then also imagine. So we'll go to each of these points quickly. Yeah. So learning about Gen AI, new developments, as everybody mentioned, it's every day you get a lot of different things. So some of the sources I get info from, I just mentioned here. So I listen to podcasts. How many people listen to podcasts here? Few of you. So I think, yeah, mostly, I think many of you use Spotify, right? So yeah, you should add some podcast to your playlist, right? Maybe Lex Friedman is a very nice guy to follow. So he talks with a lot of different AI experts. He's from MIT with the AI background, so he interviews a lot of the top personalities. And then there are lots of LinkedIn groups, influencers that you can follow, news and technical articles, take part in events. Yeah, so can you go to the next one? And the second part is very important. I think not only staying at the understanding level, I think you need to make something, okay? So tinker with things. There are so many resources out there in the internet, right? As a professor said, like, we have the world is flat. I think he brought up Thomas Friedman, right? So the world is flat. It has democratized. So one of the things about that book is, like, he talks about how internet has democratized access to information, right? So you have the same access to tools and technologies that people at MIT or Harvard or UC Berkeley, Stanford, everybody has. So it's up to us to take effort and do something about that. So you guys can be creative. We're all creative people, right? So you can be creative, play with the data. So as you guys learn data analytics, you should be really excited about data, right? So you should be playing with the data. So if you are even watching an IPL match, you should be thinking what is the run rate, or you should be converting the numbers there. And then what's you see like win predictors. These are all AI, right? So you have to think, how are they doing this win predictor today? So that should be part of your daily ritual or daily process. Another thing is like you can also build a portfolio of projects that demonstrate your creativity. So if you go to like github.com, there are so many, click on that link, it gives so many nice inputs about like what you can do on generative AI. So, but building an application requires varied expertise, right? And you can also, there are so many no-code, low-code tools. So if you're not into like technology or like programming that much, you can use some no-code tools. You can just plug and play. You can just, you do a UI with very less effort, right? And then you can experiment with things and build cool stuff. Yeah. Can you go to the next one? Yeah, I recently came across this replicate.ai. So if you want to like create cool things, right, you can just, they also give you a free tier. So you just go there and play with different models. There are so many LLM models that you can generate text. You can generate music, actually. You can give a prompt. So you can play with this. So that you have a lot of playground to play with for this generative AI. Can you go to the next one? Yeah, and the last thing I want to also mention is like, if you want to shape the future, you have to imagine the future, right? So you can, one part is to like, you can take part in hackathons, so really brainstorm ideas, and or you can even conduct one hackathon here, right? And bring people from different parts and then try to create some cool stuff. You can attend meetups. And the last part is like, you can also create innovative startups. It's not only like, going to a company, but you can also think about ideas. So if you have ideas for generative AI, how you can make an impact on the society, right? First even like your own interest, and also maybe you can think how we can bring a lot of change, even in our country. So many things that we can improve, right? Even in the, let's say, in the politics, how can we make sure that there's accountability, right? You can think about different topics that we all like to have, right? We always compare with the Western countries and say, hey, how clean this is and how neat is. So, but can we make a change? You can think about how generative AI can also equip you to create these tools and technologies, and you can also create startups, okay? And that's pretty much what I wanted to convey. Thank you for listening to me. And yeah, if you want you can take a QR code for this presentation here. And you can also connect me on LinkedIn at Armadram. Thank you very much.
Respected Dean, Professor Malvika Dio, and the keynote speaker and inaugural address speakers and chief guest, Mr. Venkatraman Krishnamurthy and Mr. Raj Madhuram, and head of the department, Professor R. Kasalingam, and all the faculty members from our department as well as from other department, and all the students. Good morning, everyone. So, I came to know that from last year onwards, this Management Studies, Department of Management Studies, they are organizing industry interface meets separately, one for general BA, another for MBA business data analytics. So I could see the difference also between the agenda for you as well as the general MBA. So you are more into the technology driven business, whereas in the general MBA, the overall management. But in the case of military, you can see the first infantry goes, and then stabilizes the army there, then army goes there. So infantry is very important in any success of the war. So like this, you are all a warrior in this business. You have to understand what is important for the success, and accordingly you have to advise how to go, how to take the decision making, and in that way your role is very important in any organization. So that was the reason when in this year there was a heavy demand, and because of this we doubled the intake for this first year student, and I could see the reason behind this. Today discussion is more of AI, the role of AI in your business. But I am not the computer person, and I am not the business person also. But no technology can overtake human intelligence. That is my personal perspective. I may be wrong also. You may be having a very good data, but if your gut feeling says that, so it may change in future, it may change, so you should invest only this much, you should not invest more, then it is up to you. There your intelligence plays. So what I am trying to say is, see, monotonous usage of data, monotonous usage of the technology also will not be successful. So that in that way I am not telling these data are not enough, but so even in our chemistry also, so we use the computational chemistry for generating the what may be the good drug, but so far we are not successful because our human body is so complex. We cannot make the complete setup and insert our drug, how this drug would be reacting to our body. It is very, very difficult. So that is why the many drugs, whatever they try to make, they still use the computational chemistry. They use what are the proteins it is in the pathogen they have, and important proteins, whatever the pathogen have, and interact with the whatever the small molecules we are planning to make, and find out whether it will inhibit, whether it will stop this particular protein present in the pathogen. But still, the computer data says that it is going to be very useful, but in the real experiment, sometimes it doesn't work. That is the nature of the system, nature of the problem. So completely relying on the whatever the data we have also should not be. So don't feel that I am giving the uncertainty to work. But what I am trying to say is, in this the era of data, you have to first understand also what is the quality of data you have. If your quality of data you don't have, if the quality is very poor, then relying on that data and taking a decision is also going to be poor. First you have to check whether the quality of data is good, whether how to improve. That is our first role. The students from our university should first generate the quality data. That is the difference between the other university and our university student. First, you have to find out at least whatever the data is really a good quality data. Then you can decide whether we can rely on this. And the again data says the poor quality data leads to more than 30% loss in the business also. So relying on data also, you have to first understand, we have to have the quality data. So, and Professor Koslingham also mentioned, so I often use the Japan or the Germany experiences. So when I was in Japan in 2000, that time itself, so there was a big news in that year. They predicted, the weather data predicted that it is going to be a different temperature zone. And the weather is going to be very hot during that summer. August is the summer there. And based on this, that cool drinks also they produced more. But at the end, they turned out to be that summer was that much hot, was not that much hot. But the amount of cool drinks sold also, it became less. So they lost because of the wrong data they had. So that is what I am telling, the quality of data is very important for you. So you have to be very careful on this. And another thing is, the very important thing, maybe your teachers may be telling this, the security of data also. Whatever the data you generate, there is a possibility of hacking nowadays. So all are very intelligent. They may hack your data also. You may be thinking that who is going to see this data, how it is going to be very useful to others. So don't think in that way. So protect your data safely. There are, you have to understand, so how to protect this data. So the safeguard your data also very important. And more importantly, it is in this era, we have some set of data and then we rely on this and we use the same typical data for longer duration is not also going to be very useful. So you have to make a habit of collecting data every day. So there is no thing like you can rely on this and expect that it is going to work for longer duration. See, market is changing often. So every day you have to collect data and there is no place for relax. Being a business manager, you have to keep on update. That is also, the collecting data also should be creative in a such a way that no other person can give you. So it is you have to select what type of data you have to collect for your business. So the outsourcing this type of work with another person, sometime if you rely it will be useful. Sometime you have to do yourself also. What type of data you have to collect every day and use for this. So every day you have to collect data and then keep yourself. These are all very important for you to run the business. And another big problem for this, maybe your teachers also may be telling this. So sometimes you have the structural data, sometimes you have the semi-structural, sometimes it may be unstructural data you may have. So when you have the big data, so mining in this data will be also very difficult. So you have to comes to these type of data, you have to also understand whether it is structured or not. Structure means definitely it will be useful for you. If it is unstructured data, then you have to find out how to make this structure and then how to mine this unstructured data also, so that it will be useful for you. And at times the data may be incomplete data also, so you should be also very careful in relying on this data. And everything you have, but at the same time, whether your decision is going to align with the data also, that is the call you have to take. Whether we have to take a decision in this direction or that direction, that is going to be very crucial for you. So these are some of the challenges you have in front of you. I thought I will share, because the experts, they share their experiences, and it was very useful. I also listened to them, so it was very useful. And you have more interactions like this, so I am really happy to be part of this, because already it's a lengthy session, so I think it is enough for you now. So thank you, Professor Kasalingam, and all the department faculty members, and the coordinator, faculty coordinator, Dr. S. Kavinmani, and the student chairperson, Mr. Amaresh, and all the students, and all the panel members who have taken your time for coming over here for this panel discussion on the AI. That is the major part today they are going to discuss. They have already discussed. And thank you once again for inviting me this function. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. Amaresh, Chairperson for Synaptic 2024, to give the vote of thanks.
Good morning, esteemed guests, faculty members, and fellow students. I stand before you to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the Department of Management Studies. I begin by extending our deepest gratitude to Professor K. Tarnikarasu, Vice Chancellor of Pondicherry University, for his invaluable guidance and unwavering support. His vision has been instrumental in shaping our journey. Our heartfelt thanks to Professor Malavika Dio, Dean School of Management, for a steadfast support throughout the event. Her encouragement has been guiding light. Our sincere gratitude goes to our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Venkatraman Krishnamurthy, General Manager HR, Ashok Leyland, and Mr. Raj Madhuram, co-founder and CTO, C1X Incorporation. Your presence added immense value to our event, and we are truly honored by your insights and participation. I also extend our thanks to the panel members and all the chief guests who graciously accepted our invitation. Behind every successful event lies a team of dedicated NGOs. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Professor R. Kasalingam, Head of Department of Management Studies, and our Synaptic Faculty Coordinator, Dr. Kavinmani ma'am, for their invaluable guidance and their support. A special mention goes to our faculty members whose dedication, commitment and support has been a bedrock of our success. We are grateful for your tireless efforts. To our student coordinators, I extend my sincere appreciation for your dedication, time and effort for making this event a grand success. Last but not least, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to everyone who has contributed to the success of this event. Your support has made all the difference. Thank you.